Since the start of the coronavirus lockdown 6 months ago, small businesses have borne the brunt of the financial fallout. According to a report from TechCo, 80% of small business owners say they were hurt from the pandemic, but it's not all bad. 55% say despite all that's going on, they feel positive about the future. For a little more on how small businesses are doing, Joanne Canady-Brown joins me. She is the owner of the Gingered Peach Bakery in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. Hi, Joanne. Great to have you back with us. We, of course, spoke with you back in May, a couple months into this pandemic. At the time, you'd just been approved for a PPP loan, which you said would be critical for hiring your staff back. And at that point, you had hired a quarter of your employees back, in the hopes that you could hire all your staff back by the end of June. So give us an update. Tell us where things stand now.
Hi, Tanya. Thanks again for having me back. So right now we have reopened, and I have hired back all of my employees in their original capacities. So essentially no one received a cut to hours, and we've been open a little over a month and a half at this point. And things are flowing. We are getting in the new flow of things. It took us ripping off the Band-Aid and just jumping right into it, making a lot of mistakes, trying new things to find out what really worked for us. But now we feel much more comfortable in the position that we're in, and we are open now 5 days a week.
That is great news. Congratulations. We are so happy to hear that. Is revenue flowing the way it was at pre-pandemic levels or not quite?
It's very interesting what's happened. We're watching the consumer habits have changed. They're shopping at different times of the day. So where we used to see peaks before are now delayed 2 hours because folks aren't necessarily commuting into work anymore. Their work habits have changed. In terms of what our revenues look like as opposed to last year, we are down, but we are not down as much as we thought we would be. So that is a major positive. I think that in order for us to kind of bring that back, we're just going to have to get a little bit more savvy in terms of how we are now addressing what the new consumer is looking for.
And so has that been one of the biggest challenges to reopening, just figuring out how the landscape has changed? What other challenges are you facing?
So it really is how the landscape has changed. It's how people's eating habits have changed. It's how their celebrations have changed. We're a bakery, and a lot of the work that we did surrounded around gathering. So it was birthday parties or weddings, and we are watching those, even though those events are still happening. They're happening in more intimate settings. So it was kind of creating this pivot and creating new products that would resonate with the consumer and how they're changing the way that they are celebrating things.
And did the pandemic also force your business to innovate in other ways, to find new ways to serve your customers when it comes to sort of, you know, all of the new hygiene requirements that are in place?
Yeah, we had to completely change the way that we were operating. It was at one point where you would kind of come in the bakery and people would just pack it and line up, and then we'd have a little bit of spillover outside. When I met with my staff, because we kind of came up with this decision together, it was, you know, to have them come back, it was, well, what level of what things do you think we need to institute for you to feel comfortable returning to work? And it was putting hygiene standards in place. So that was, we hand sanitize at the door. It's mandatory. We have someone who mans that door all day, and then we spray your hands. What that does is it allows the consumer freedom when they come into the store, that they can touch the milk bullets, they can point to the glass, they can grab napkins and feel comfortable because they know everyone before them has had their hands sanitized. We've also had to meet people at curbside pickup. So sometimes people just pull right into our parking spaces and call from outside and say, hey, I'm here to pick up my order. We're developing an online order system. So now people can place their orders online versus having to call in the store or go via email. And now we're also exploring taking on nationwide shipping because there's folks who still don't want to come out. And so we are looking at nationwide shipping through Goldbelly, which we hope will launch in September.
Well, lots of innovation. It sounds very exciting. So would you say for your particular business, you personally, do you feel the government response was sufficient?
For my personal business, I do think it was sufficient for what our needs were. Once again, I entered this situation in a different financial place. I had money that was saved that was going to be used for the expansion. Once we received our PPP money, and once they made those changes where they extended the amount of time that we had to use it, that became a crucial tool to help us move forward. It allowed me to bring my entire staff back. It allowed us to build inventory. It gave us a little bit of breathing room. Once again, there still are some things that can be addressed, but in terms of what I've received at this point, it got us off to a very good start.
All right. Well, Joanne Canady-Brown, we're so happy that the Gingered Peach is up and running and thriving and that you're back in business. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tanya. Have a great day.